Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Webinar Wednesday. Tonight's topic is Introduction to Organic SEO for the dental and the medical team. My name is Dr. David Wank, and for those of you who don't know me, I'm a practicing general dentist in New York City, and I'm the president of Short Hills Design, which is an internet marketing company for dentists and physicians. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to go over organic SEO. So real quickly, because we are going to get through these topics, we're going to do an intro, some ground rules. We're going to briefly talk about the web design workbook for dentists and where SEO fits. We're going to give you a basic intro to SEO. I'm going to discuss ranking factors. We're going to talk about offsite SEO, then onsite SEO. We're then going to discuss, do I really need SEO? We're going to talk about how we do it. Then we'll do the wrap up and we'll take some questions. So, introduction, technical level. This is a non-technical talk. There's nothing technical about it. I mean, it's conceptual. Everything that you do in the office every day is much harder than anything that we're going to talk about here today. So, taking notes. There's going to be a bit tonight. You really don't need to take notes. Certainly, the recording is going to be available after the presentation, as always. And if you would like a copy of the slides, feel free to shoot me an email, and I'm happy to give one to you. Now, questions. You can raise your hand if you want to ask a question. There's a raise your hand feature. And for those of you who've done Webinar Wednesday before, I try and answer the questions in there if I can. If I can't, I can't, and I answer them at the end. But certainly if I can't answer it during the presentation, I will stick around after to answer it. I want to keep the time to 45 minutes like I always do, but this topic, I don't know if I can do that. This one might go an hour. I will not be offended if you leave. Obviously, you'll have the recording. I did promise 45 minutes, but I might go an hour in fairness. Okay, so what is the take-home message? Why are we even talking about SEO? Well, the goal of SEO is to drive traffic to your website so you can get new patients, period. End of webinar. I'm kidding. That's the end, really. Get new patients. Now, let's break it down a step further. We want to use specific keywords on specific pages on your website with the goal of getting these pages to appear higher in search engine rankings, with the goal there, of course, of people clicking those search engine rankings, those search engine listings, driving traffic to your website, with the goal of generating new patients. So let's talk about the book real quickly. As I always say, I'm not selling books tonight, but I want to put this in perspective. The Web Design Workbook is a book that I wrote for dentists and dental team members, just so we have an idea of what you need to know before you buy a website, SEO, whatever you're doing. It is not how to do your own, it's not how to do your own root canal. It's not what that is. It's a guide. That being said, what I want to talk about tonight is the workflow. Phase one in the workflow, as I've said till I'm blue in the face, that many of you returning people know already, is build a website to Google standards. That is phase one. And tonight, when we get to phase two, we're going to get into a little more detail about why that's so important. But phase two is where we are tonight. Phase two is driving traffic. Phase two is anything that you do to bring traffic, to bring attention, to get people to your website. So, search engine optimization, social media, pay-per-click marketing, any other kind of website marketing. Are you doing a postcard campaign? That's phase two. So anything you do to drive traffic to this website, that's phase two. So let's do an introduction to SEO. So SEO is really just simply the process where we take carefully researched keywords or search terms and we put them in specific locations on your web page. I say website, it's really web page because we optimize pages, not websites per se. But that's it. Now, what's the relationship between SEO and social media? The answer is it's a parallel relationship. They are separate things in the same goal. Anything you do, again, we're still in phase two. Anything you do to drive traffic, these are just different methods we use to get there, to get people to go to your website. And again, let's take a look on the diagram. Your website's in the middle. On the left, we have SEO, and on the right, we have social media. And I don't really care how you get, on the top, we could put another gray arrow. It doesn't matter to me how else you get people to your website. If you stand outside with a pirate outfit on with an eye patch and holding up a sign that says, visit our website for cosmetic specials, fine with me. We want to drive traffic. So SEO is just one part of the driving traffic formula. I mean, it doesn't, so I'll show you here. There's SEO, social media, and AdWords, and whatever else you want to do. I bring up social media and AdWords because most people want to learn about social media and AdWords. Those are the most popular ones. So this is the take home. SEO is just another way. And they are not mutually exclusive, by the way. You might have a terrible ROI with AdWords and a fantastic ROI with social media and a terrible ROI with SEO. If you're a prosthodontist, and if any prosthodontists who are listening, forgive me, it's very hard to generate buzz on Facebook or social media about new porcelain or about, that we have more shades. So that's really not something that's going to drive, a lot of traffic. But AdWords, you might be able to promote how you're a specialist. Or SEO, you might not have, full mouth rehabs if people are searching for that. So certainly you've got to balance what works for your practice. Pedo practices, they do great with social media. So it's different ways to achieve the same thing. Hey, if you can get ROI from all three, that's even better. Okay, so before we do, this is an organic search lecture webinar, so let's talk about the difference real quick. Organic search is based on the content of your website, period. You can't pay Google, you can't pay Bing, you can't, slip me a $500 bill. I was just watching whatever show they had, they had a $500 bill they had for auction from a long time ago. You can't slip me a $500 bill at the county meeting. I can't make your site go higher. You can't pay for that. That's the key. It's based on the content of your website alone. That's it. So let's take a look at an example of organic search. This is where I used the search term at the top, used car dealer. If you see that up here, used car dealer at the very top. And the reason I did that is because I was lecturing once and I said, let's look at dentists in the area. And there were people in the audience who came up on the list with the reviews, and the stars weren't always fabulous, so we're not going to have that conversation. But if you look all the way at the bottom here, you've got the organic search. I searched for used car dealer. That was my keyword. A keyword is a search term, is a phrase. So used is a keyword, car is a keyword, dealer is a keyword, used car is a keyword, used car dealer is a keyword, used car dealer, New York is a keyword. So keywords aren't words. Think of them more as key phrases. So you can see here in red that you've got Major World, Auto Trader, and Auto Trader are ranking here. And that's because somebody searched for used car dealer, and Google basically, think of it as a big filing cabinet. Google opened up the file cabinet and said, hey, what pages do we have here that relate to used car dealer? And these are the three that Google thought were the best to return. And as we move on in this talk, we're going to talk about why that is. Okay, paid search. So you create advertisements and you pay when people click on your ads. AdWords is great, and it can be great. It can also be a money pit. So you've got to be careful. But what you have to know about AdWords is that, remember, you pay when someone clicks on your ad, not when they become a patient. That would be the best deal. So if somebody clicks and disappears, you still pay. So here we have, you can see clearly in red here, the top and the right side where Google puts paid search. Google does experiment with how many listings they show in the paid search areas, but for the most part, these are areas where paid search is. So that's something to consider. Obviously, it is on the same page as organic search, but they're very different. Now, paid search, we go back here, Major World and Auto Trader, the person who's number 4, who'd be on the top of page 2, they can't pay anybody to move higher up on organic. But on the paid search, part of where you rank in an AdWords listing here, used car dealer on the top, Tom Ford, Hertz car sale, has to do with how much you're willing to pay. And a lot of other things as well. You can't just say, I'll pay $100 and I'll be in charge. Doesn't work that way. But that's certainly, there is some pay to play in that. So, okay, now let's look at our terminology. So we just discussed paid search. And for the most part, paid search is really, we talk about AdWords. There are other paid search processes, but we're going to stick with AdWords. And that's really all we're going to do to talk about paid search tonight. So if you want to learn about paid search, I believe we did one about keyword research. I will have an AdWords one coming up in September, October, around then. And I do have, I think there's a lecture floating out there somewhere. We'll have to, if anybody wants it, let me know and I can get it to you. Now, when we talk about organic search, there's two big pieces we want to talk about. There's on-site SEO and there's off-site SEO. Let's talk about what that means. So generally speaking, on-site SEO are things that you or your web developer can do on your web page to help. Think about that, the impression you take in the office. You can certainly control the impression. Whether you send a good impression or a bad impression. Off-site SEO are things that are pretty much out of your control, such as how hot is it going to be in the van when the guy drives your lab case to the lab, or things like that. So let's go into now and talk about ranking factors. Actually, let's go back one sec. So again, on-site SEO is how your site was built. When I say that we're going to build you a new website and we're going to build it to Google standards and that your website is SEO ready, that is what I mean. We've structured it in a certain way. I could certainly build you a website that's not SEO ready, meaning it doesn't follow these principles we're going to talk about, what you need to do to make a site Google ready. A Google ready site is basically an SEO ready site. Think of it as the same thing. So when I tell you that and I say, hey, we're going to build an SEO website, an SEO ready website for you, it means all of the structural supports that you need are already in place to do SEO. Off-site SEO, again, things that are out of your control or less in your control. Ranking factors. So there are more than 300 factors that go into ranking a web page for a certain search term. Now, you can certainly split hairs. I'm sure some of you know about there's domain authority, but I'm not going to get into that tonight. Happy to have that conversation in the Facebook group, but we're not going to really get into domain authority as much. But understand that there are 300 factors. And let's take a look at some of them. So some of them you can see here are the speed of your page. That's one of them. Is it mobile ready? That is, does it pass Google's smartphone test? Do you have title tags for each page? Do you have header tags? Let's see here. Alt tags, I put that twice, but those are important. Keyword density. Now, SSL. That's August webinar. Is SSL critical in ranking? I don't know. Is it what we call it a ranking signal? So sure, it's a tiny one for now. I don't know how important it's going to be, which is why I have this slide. So we have an idea of what these ranking factors are, but we don't know what the relative weight is. I can tell you right now that SSL, if you had to choose and say, should I be mobile ready or should I have SSL? I tell you absolutely pick mobile ready. You can only pick one. Should I have title tags and heading tags? Or should I be more concerned about the location of where my hosting server is? Obviously, header tags and title tags. So certainly we have a clue of certain things don't change. Everybody starts to say, oh, Google changed their algorithm and this and this. Don't worry about that. If you've done what you're supposed to do, you should be okay. The only two major things that have really changed in the last 10 years that I remember are A, they forced you to go mobile ready, smartphones, responsive design. And the other thing that they really changed, and you know what? I'm not even sure if I'd consider that a change, but it was mobile ready is what they really, really wanted, and that you have to verify your Google My Business listing. That's not really a ranking factor, but it's something that you really should do. So that's the only, and everyone heard about that. So if you do enough out there that you know about me and you know about the webinar series, and you're on Gentletown and you just keep up, basically you will hear if there are any major changes. Do not panic if someone says, oh, there's an algorithm change, because the algorithm changes are designed to weed out the cheaters. They're not there to weed out people like us who want to write a quality page about Invisalign and rank for it. So, and there it is, Google My Business Profile, bottom left. Okay, so generally speaking, we want to rank pages and not websites. So you're not going to say to me, hey, can we do some SEO and I want to make my website rank first? No. Specific pages. I want my implant overdenture page to rank first. Okay, so let's first talk about offsite SEO, get that out of the way. So here are the things you have to do. These you can write down or get the slides. Number one, register the domain name in your name for 10 years, period. I think it's a maximum term you can register it for. I use GoDaddy For domain names, I don't have a preference what you do. I just want you to own it. I've been in too many situations where the dentist or the physician doesn't own the name, then they want to change something, and then it's a whole to-do. Host your website in the country where your practice is located. Most of you are in the US, but for those of you who are not in the United States, if you're in Canada, host the website in Canada. It's not critical, but it's something you should do. It's one of those things that's easy to do that you should just do. And grab the low-hanging fruit links to your website. I will have to post this. I'm going to write this down right now. I will post on the Facebook page the low-hanging fruits list. And the low-hanging fruits are one of the factors that goes into it. And we did a whole link building webinar. One of the factors that goes into it, on the top left here is your link profile. And that's really who links to you. So obviously, if you and a competitor have all of these things that are the same, all of these ranking factors, you're, check plus for every one of them, and they have more links to their site than you do, they might rank higher. So the low-hanging fruit ones are, for example, the ADA, if you're an AGD member, if you're AAP, whatever you happen to be, any professional organizations, if you're an Invisalign or CEREC provider, and they give you a profile on their website, and you can link from them, from that Invisalign site or the CEREC site or whatever it happens to be to your site, get those links. They may not be valuable. They are something called follow and no follow. Some links are better than others, but at this point, it doesn't pay to split hairs. Because remember, we're not competing against Coca-Cola. We're competing against other local dentists. So if you have something that they don't have, you may rank higher. And one of the reasons that I tell you till I'm blue in the face is that I want you to have a site to standards is because I don't know what the relative weight of all these ranking factors is, and I don't know what your competition has. And I don't know if you have SSL and they don't, but they have alt tags and you don't, alt tags will probably win the day. But does it pay to try and figure that out? No. It makes more sense just to do it. Send the best impression you can to the lab to maximize your chance of success. Okay, on-site SEO. On-site SEO are the things that we can do. When I say we, I mean your web developer. Things that you don't have to know how to do, but that something that your web developer should do and that you should know to look for. So I want a title tag on every page. At the top of and I will actually put follow-ups. I'll also add that to the Facebook group, an example of a title tag. You want title tags. You want properly formatted pages and posts. So HTML is the markup language that we use to work with web pages. C++ is a programming language. JavaScript is a scripting language. HTML is a markup language. And basically what makes Chrome or Safari able to talk to you is this language called HTML. And so one of the things about HTML and that Google looks for and being in search engines look for is, do you use these H1, H2, these Ps, this formatting properly? That's something that you and I, for example, as an end user, never ever see, but it's something that's underneath the cover. And that's something that's important that you have there, that it is formatted that way. That can make a big difference. The next thing is page speed. Now, again, there are a ton of things here, but again, I'm giving you the easy ones. Or the ones that are easiest to fix that you're most likely going to run up against. Page speed. I want your page speed to be under 4 seconds, under 3.5 seconds. And the reason for that is because page speed matters. Now, does it matter as much as an alt tag? I don't know. Does it matter as much as verifying your Google My Business profile? I don't know. So I'll tell you to do both. Now, one of the things, again, it's a comparison. If my page is 3.2 seconds loads, let's say my homepage, and yours loads at 3.3 seconds, that doesn't make a difference. If yours loads at 3.3 seconds and mine loads at 9 seconds, that makes a difference. But one of the easy ways, one of the things that really bloats loading times of web pages is the size of the images. And I've got a webinar back there, I think it was April or May, where we talked about Lightroom and how to get those images smaller. Again, if that's not something that interests you, and it doesn't interest a lot of people, have your web developer just make sure that you look and see that the image sizes on your website are small. that is not terribly difficult to do, but I would say tell your web developer, hey, can you make sure, you know what I'm going to do on the Facebook page, I will put up the a page speed test. So you guys can look, you can pop your URL in, and you can see how your page speed is. Run the test a couple of times. Don't panic if one of them is, 7 minutes. No, don't panic, but run it a couple of times to get an idea. And then on that list, you'll be able to see, if there are images that are taking it up, that are really holding you back. And that's one of the things. Also, make sure you pass Google's mobile friendly test. And I will put that link there as well. That's important because, again, it's a yes or no answer. Just want to check it to make sure that it passes the test. Now, some of these things might sound trivial, but you'd be surprised how many of your competitors don't have this in place. And I'm telling you, I see it every day, so it does exist. Next, you want to verify your Google My Business profile 100%. And I'll say that twice, 100%. That doesn't mean 75% or 90%. Usually they give you that last 10% when you add 3 images or something like that. Do it and fill it out. It's the most important thing. Page text, between 100 and 200 words. Now, if you do some digging about SEO, you'll find that people want you to have 250 words, 400 words. I just disagree with that. I've always thought that it's 2 to 3 paragraphs, maybe 4 per page. Because even if you have a 250 words is a typewritten page. And so if you have a 500 word page, it's a tremendously long page, and I just don't think you need it. Also, I can understand writing that much about implants or bone grafts. I can't imagine writing that much about RPDs. I do RPDs every single day, and I don't know if I have, technically, certainly, but for a patient, I don't think I could write a page or 2 pages about RPDs. So, and we can get into, Flexite and Valplast and into, all these things and clasps and whatnot, but still, you have to just, use your head with that. So certainly you don't want a page that just says, we do RPDs. Something better than that. Alt tags for all images. Alt tags are important because they are not only do they help support the images, what an alt tag is text behind an image that identifies the image. So if you go ahead and you look at, if you remember from years ago when you would load a web page and it would take forever to load, and you would see text where the images were, or where the images are loading, that's an alt tag. So you certainly want to have alt tags in place. These alt tags describe your images, so that's very important. And again, you can tell your web developer, make sure all of my images have alt tags. So in addition to that, alt tags are important because for some of you who have heard about it, there are beginning to be issues with the Americans with Disabilities Act. We're going to do an entire webinar on that. That's a bit of a mess because there are some accessibility issues that we have to worry about, except the government hasn't released that standards yet. And it puts a lot of dentists and physicians in a bind. There was just a case yesterday where a federal judge did order some standards to be set, but it's still wishy-washy, but something to think about. And lastly, implement a well-researched focus keyword for that page. And so in a minute, we're going to talk about how we do that. All right. I want you to watch this video because what that video is going to explain is title tags, properly formatted pages and posts. That video is going to explain number 2. What do I mean when I talk about H1, H2, P? And it's going to teach you that if you say, you know what, I don't want to pay for SEO, which is fine. I want to just write my own blog post. And if I'm going to write it, how do I write it the right way? Hit that blog post there. That is on the Facebook page. It's on my blog. It's on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, and to the link on the left, bit.ly/SHD-SEO. Watch that video or at least skim through it. It will explain a lot of what the basic on-site issues are when you're looking at H1, H2, H3, for example. All right. Now, do I really need SEO? And that's the kicker. And the answer is, it depends, of course. So really SEO, whether you need SEO, so when I say that, so I'm going to swap the word. Do I need SEO, or should I say, do I need to do research to see what the most popular keywords are for my subject and implement those keywords? That's really what I'm saying. Does your website have to be SEO ready / built to Google standards? Absolutely. But do I really need to spend the time and or money researching keyword volumes so I can implement the most searched keywords on my particular pages? That is really what I'm asking. And that is all competition based. Here's your website. And if you just have your website and you're in Miles City, Montana, and there's no dentist within many, 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 many miles, then you have your website and you have a great day. And that's it. You could turn off the webinar now. But as you get more competitors, competition starts to matter. And that's why I said before with that blue matrix we had, I don't know. If you have these two competitors and neither of them have a website that's up to standards, or neither of them have both of their websites take 10 seconds to load their Invisalign page, and yours takes 3 seconds, you'll probably win that out. But in this mess of competitors, it's pretty certain that one of them or two of them or three of them will have done this the right way. Again, because it is not rocket science. It's not, from a clinical perspective, it's complicated because we just don't do it. I joke that I haven't had a root canal fail in 10 years. I haven't done one in 10 years. I could do it. I had a patient ask me to take their wisdom teeth out, and I said, you don't want me to do that. I haven't done it since residency. You do not want me to do it, and neither does my insurance company. So certainly, but this is competition based. And again, I don't know what your competition is doing. So when it comes to building to standards, I would just assume put you out there up to standards, because at worst, at best you win. You rank for that page, that keyword. At worst, though, at a minimum, you're in the conversation. That's key. So how do we do it? How is it done? So what we have here, and this is what I do every day. When clients pay us to do SEO, this is exactly what we do. And again, it's not, okay. So it's a sequential process that we use to rank a web page for a particular topic. And this is not a secret. This is just how it's done. And this is what one of my clients fondly called the marketing arms race, because 20 years ago, you're the only one with a website. Then you were the only one who had a dedicated implant page. Then you're the only one with a crowns page. Then the only one with a dedicated all ceramic crowns page. Now everyone has a website. Everyone has an all ceramic crowns page. Okay. It's kind of in the sense that we can't really brag, I have digital. That's really not so, impressive anymore, because everyone does. So we want to so when we build a site, and we're going to start with, let's say, I've been talking about Invisalign because that's our example. And because our new lead generation program does implants in Invisalign. So that's why I'm kind of on an Invisalign fix right now. But so again, it's a process. We want to go in order to rank the page for a specific topic. And again, it is an arms race. So when we build a website and we make you a page for implant dentures, we're just going to write implant dentures. I live in Maplewood. I practice in Tribeca. So what I would do, and I would just say implant dentures, Tribeca, and be done. Now, if you want to see now, is that the right keyword? This is what you do. So so I'm going to make an educated guess here, and we'll make the keyword for this Invisalign page, Invisalign Los Angeles. Now, I will tell you right off the bat, that's a terrible keyword. And the reason, because it's just too broad. I haven't been to LA in years and years, but certainly there are neighborhoods you don't want to say, Invisalign dentist, New York. Obviously you want to be Invisalign dentist, your city or something smaller. Obviously, I don't want to be Invisalign dentist, New Jersey, or Invisalign dentist, New York, because nobody from Buffalo all the way up north is coming down to Tribeca to do Invisalign. So, okay. So our candidate keyword here is Invisalign Los Angeles. Now, so what's the first thing we're going to do? Well, the first thing I'm going to tell you is I want to make sure you have a dedicated Invisalign page, because if your competitors don't, if you have an Invisalign page and your competitors don't, then remember we had that grid before competitors, then you're in pretty good shape. You will most likely rank for that Invisalign subject. If your competitors do have an Invisalign page, then at least you're on the playing field. And so which is better? Which is more cost efficient? Make an Invisalign page or check every one of your competitors to see if they have an Invisalign page, and then check once a month to make sure nobody new moved in the area and added an Invisalign page, right? So go ahead and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to hang up the phone and say, call me back when you have an Invisalign page, or pay us to write you one. Better go write one yourself. But that's what I want you to do first. If you don't have a dedicated page for the subject you want to rank for, you're not going to compete. As an aside, write this down somewhere. Think about if you take insurance, think about the insurances that you take, and take the top 2 or the top 3, Delta, Cigna, MetLife, whatever it happens to be, and make a dedicated page for each of those services, those providers. So, for example, you might have, let's say I had Tribeca, or where I work, I would say, let's do Delta Dental Dentist Tribeca. Dr. Wank is a dentist in Tribeca, and he proudly takes Delta Dental. Dr. Wank has been working with Delta for the last 7 years, and he's a Delta Premier partner, and blah, 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 blah. And the reason is because you probably have a page, or you and your competitors have pages that say, insurance, we take Delta, Cigna, MetLife, PPO, blah, 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 blah. And is that page about Delta? Or is Delta one of 10 insurances mentioned on that page? With a dedicated page about Delta, if someone does a search for Delta Dental Dentist Tribeca, or Delta Dental Dentist where you are, or Delta where you are, if you have a dedicated page and your competitors don't, there's a very strong chance that that page will come up first. That's also part of it. That's not organic research. That's saying, what could I do to outcompete my competition, to outsmart them, because what can I do that they haven't done? Now, so we've gone ahead and we've made a website, we've made a page for Invisalign, and let's see where we are. Right, so we talked about that. So if you don't have a page, you're not going to rank for it for the subject. You're not in the conversation. All right, so one page on the subject about Invisalign. If you're in Montana, let's say, it's very easy to rank. And the reason I picked Montana is I was lecturing at the Vermont meeting a couple of years ago, and I was sitting next to someone on the plane from Montana who did tell me that there's only one dentist in 1,000 miles in his area. So I'm not picking on Montana. So now what we're going to do, so now here we are, we're in Montana, we have an Invisalign page and we're ranked first. Terrific. Now, though, we're going to add some competition. So we're now in California, we're in Los Angeles, same keyword. We have 20 competitors who have an Invisalign page. And so for us to be number 21, or for us even to be in that 20, obviously there are only 10 spots on the first page of search results, only 5 in the top 5, only 3 in the top 3. So it's very difficult for us to rank one page on the subject when there are 20 competitors. And that's, again, it's a competition thing. So we've gone ahead and we've added an Invisalign page, and it's fantastic. And our site's up to Google standards because Short Hills built it, and everything is fabulous. And when we look, we rank 15th out of 20. Now what do we do? Let's take a look here. I use the presidents as an example. And so here's page 1 of search results. Here's page 2. And right after Dr. Franklin Pierce is you. We're 15th, which is annoying, right? Because we've done everything we're supposed to do. We're up to standards. We have a dedicated Invisalign page. It's done well. Now what? Okay. Now what we're going to do is, and here, so now that you have, 1 to 15, how did Google decide that Washington is first, Adams is second, and you're 15th? And, everyone else is behind you. How do they decide that? And part of how they decide that is with these ranking factors, which, again, I will hammer it out again. That's why I want you to build to standards. Because let's just say that you're number 15, and you come to me and say, David, I'm ranking 15th for Invisalign. What can we do? And I'm going to say, all right, how's your page speed? Oh, wait, it's slow? Oh, that's not good. Are you mobile ready? No. Do you have alt tags? No. Do you have proper header tags? No. So basically now I have to rebuild your website, because it's not a question of me saying, okay, let's just, maybe you have a couple of images that have a problem, so we can fix those, fine. You're not mobile ready? I've got to rebuild it. You're not responsive? Geez, it's impossible. We don't have the tags properly. So this is what your information architecture, your pages are all over the place, your links aren't organized, they're not logical. So that's why I don't want you to be here, because when you're here, I want to make sure this is all done already. I don't want to take temporaries off on final impression day and then have to deal with decay. I just don't want to be there. And so that's why we do this. So how does Google differentiate us? Now, there's many things, and one of the and these are all the things. Now, if, for example, everyone has done this all the same, which is unlikely, but if everyone is at the same level with all of these things, then we move to the next step. And again, you have a site that's built to standard, so let's assume you're there. Obviously, SSL isn't really key yet, and I'm not worried about that. Review quality and review number, I don't think those are tremendous ranking factors, at least organically, maybe for maps, but not for organically. So don't look on here and see something and say, oh my goodness, my keyword placement and what the heck is content freshness. I don't want to start a panic. Don't worry about that. What I'm just telling to you is build to standards. So now what do we do? So what we're going to do, we're going to optimize your Invisalign web page with the most frequently searched keywords. That's what we're going to do next. So, okay. So the first thing, and this is, where I would come in, or your SEO provider comes in, or you come in. So you do keyword research because you want to see what are the most frequently searched keywords for Invisalign. And then what you want to do is once you know that, you use the principles we talked about on-site SEO, and in that video that I referenced for you, to incorporate these keywords using the on-site SEO principles that we just discussed. And again, doing this will get you, at best, it will make you rank well. At worst, it will put you in the conversation. So somebody asked me what tool we use to do keyword search. A couple. For the most part, I use the AdWords keyword tool. It's a very, very good tool to use, and it's free. There are other tools. I do use Ahrefs, and I'll put it here in the let me put it in the chat box here. I use Moz sometimes, and I use Ahrefs, and I use the Google AdWords keyword tool. Those are some of the things that I use, and those are some of the things we do. Now, and the problem is, by the way, someone say, wait a second, that's the AdWords keyword tool, but we're doing organic search, aren't we? Aha. And the answer to that is, yes, it is. The problem is about 5 or 6 years ago already, Google decided to stop giving us organic search results, the data for your site, which is terribly annoying, but they will give it to you for AdWords. So the good news about that is that we have some data. The bad news about that is that, and the good news is that we have data. The bad news is it's AdWords data, but the good news is that everyone is stuck with the same data. So that's good news. So now what we'll do is we're going to go ahead now. We're going to do this keyword research. Where is and I have a webinar. I think our first webinar Wednesday or our second one, it was January or it was February. We did do how to use the keyword tool to see what people are searching for. So go back and find that one. Email me if you need it, but go back and find that one, and Matt will walk you through how to do that. So the results of our research, and I made this up. So Invisalign Dentist Los Angeles had 50 searches, Invisalign Cost had 20, Invisalign Los Angeles had 5, and Invisalign Discount Plan LA had 1. Now, remember, my target keyword here is Invisalign Los Angeles. And so let's take a look and see what we got. Now notice, Invisalign Los Angeles, which is the keyword I implemented on the page, right? I built this website, we built it, and we said, hey, we're in LA, let's do Invisalign Los Angeles and see how we do. Fine. That is the default that we used. And then you said, you know what, I'm not ranking first. We have a dedicated page. There's a million competitors. Let's do some research. We did our research, and lo and behold, Invisalign Los Angeles is there. There were 5 searches a month. But you know what? I don't think that's the best keyword for us to look at, because Invisalign Dentist Los Angeles, looking up here, that's actually the one that people are really searching for. So certainly we could try and rank for Invisalign Los Angeles, but why would I want to rank for a keyword that only has 5 searches a month? What am I going to win, so to speak? I would much rather look at Invisalign Dentist Los Angeles because there are 10 times as many searches per month. So what does that mean? It means that, look, if I rank 10th for a keyword that has 5 searches versus ranking 10th for a keyword with 50 searches, I'd rather be there on the one that has 50 searches. And obviously I want to be first for that keyword. But certainly if you're going to do this, the goal here is to say, let us go ahead and focus on Invisalign Dentist Los Angeles, because that's the keyword with the highest volume. And that's what I want to do. So we pop that in there, and we're going to, again, use those techniques, adjust our title tag and our header tag to go ahead and make sure, and things like that, to focus that page from Invisalign Dentist Los Angeles to, from Invisalign Los Angeles to Invisalign Dentist Los Angeles. That's what I want to do with it. So that is really the big picture. So what we're going to do is we're going to optimize the Invisalign page to incorporate that keyword. Now, on the subject of, hold on, because I have another question. Let me just take a look here. Okay, how many times can you repeat a keyword on each page? Use your judgment. That's something called keyword density. Watch that video, and if you want, mention it 3 or 4 times. But more importantly, put it in the title tag. If the title of your, if it's, if your page is going to be Invisalign Dentist Los Angeles, make that the title tag, and say, Dr. Wank is a Invisalign dentist in Los Angeles. But you don't want it to say, Dr. Wank is an Invisalign dentist in Los Angeles who loves doing Invisalign dentist in Los Angeles because he grew up as an Invisalign dentist in Los Angeles. That's keyword stuffing. So write it naturally. But, make your H1 your header tag, and you'll see it in that video. Invisalign Dentist Los Angeles, make that the title of the page, and throw it somewhere, maybe in the text a little bit, once or twice. And that's it. That's all you have to do. You don't want to overdo it, because overdoing it is bad as well. What I was going to say also, though, is that when it comes to, they asked me whether you want to do, what's the value of monthly SEO? Should I pay for monthly SEO? And for us, I really think the answer is not really. At Short Hills, I don't do monthly SEO. And here's the reason why. We've done this Invisalign Dentist Los Angeles keyword search, right? We've done this in order. A, we have an Invisalign page. B, we've ranked our page for Invisalign. For Invisalign Dentist Los Angeles, we've done what we're supposed to do. Is there anything else that I can do for you to try and rank you, to try and get you a better ranking for this keyword? Other than link building, not really. And so for me, it's just, and it's not me, it's this is what you do. If there are 4 people who know about this, and many will because this is not a secret, there are 4 people who optimize their Invisalign page for Invisalign Dentist Los Angeles, you're going to be one of 4, one of 5, But if there's 20, there's not a ton more that you can do to force this. And so that's why I would rather say to you, let's do this once. And then make sure that at least, for Invisalign, implants, whatever our most, all ceramic crowns, whatever the services that we value the most or want to do the most of or are most profitable, those, let's optimize for those. But do I really think that this list of keywords, this search volume, is going to change next month? I don't think so. Will it change in a year? Maybe. Will it change in a year and a half? Maybe. So maybe it makes sense in a year or a year and a half, once we've done this, to do another search and see if any of this has really changed. That might make sense. But for me to give you a report next month that says, hey, last month you ranked 15th for Invisalign Dentist Los Angeles, and now you rank 11th, I'm not sure what that does for you. And now you rank 7th, and now you rank 9th again. Now you rank 3rd, now you rank 9th. I don't see how that really helps you. What helps you is how many new patients did you get? And so, and I was telling someone today, we could hypothetically rank you first for every keyword that you have and every keyword that you want, and you still might get 0 new patients. Why? Well, because it's not just ranking on search engines. Someone's going to click that link on the search engine, whether you're first or you're second, they're going to get to your webpage, and they're going to see that you're too far away, or they're going to see that they don't like your picture, or you don't have hours on Tuesdays, or you don't see patients Saturday morning, whatever it happens to be. So just because, now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't do SEO in a competitive area. You absolutely should. But if you're at a point where you If you're at a point where you're trying to drive traffic, it pays, but I just don't know if it really pays to have a report every month that tells you what your rankings are. If you're going to spend money, I would much rather have you spend money having someone write content. I mean, will we do that? I'd much rather have you not spend money, and I'd much rather have you write your own content. So if you're at a point now where we've done what we have to do for Invisalign Dentist Los Angeles, I have a question, and I will take it in a minute. Invisalign Dentist Los Angeles, what else do I want you to do? Clearly there's interest about Los Angeles. And let's look at the second keyword here. This second keyword was Invisalign Cost Los Angeles. So you know what I want you to do? I want you to write a page about Invisalign Cost Los Angeles. Because, hey, if everyone else has done it for Invisalign Dentist Los Angeles, maybe they all haven't done it for Invisalign Cost Los Angeles. And maybe, look, even for Invisalign, so obviously, look, Invisalign Dentist Los Angeles and Invisalign Los Angeles, those are too close. But Invisalign Cost, that's a separate topic. And I certainly don't expect you to say it costs $6,000 or $8,000. But you might say, Invisalign Cost Los Angeles. Many people ask Dr. Wank what the cost of Invisalign is, in Los Angeles area. And we tell you, blah, 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 blah. And it's, Dr. Wank is certified and he's this and that, and he does 10 million cases a year. So while cost is an issue, it's more important to find someone who knows what they're doing. That's what I want you to do. So when you see so that's why when we do SEO for people, I say, look, we will optimize you for Invisalign Dentist Los Angeles, but there's certainly, we don't want to miss these 20 people. And again, these are averages who are searching for Invisalign. And there might be other ones as well. And look, if you did do this, Invisalign, let's say there was Invisalign discount plan is 1, and there might be Invisalign Teen 7. Well, heck, write a page about an Invisalign discount plan. I made that up. I don't know if there is one. And Invisalign Teen, so use the data that you have or that your SEO people work with and write more content. Because again, if we're back where we were before, if you don't have an Invisalign cost page and your competitors do, you're in good shape. Sorry, you're in bad shape. If you have an Invisalign Cost Los Angeles page, your competitors don't, then you're in good shape. So I hope that makes sense. Now, someone asked you, how do you tell if the patient is coming from SEO or AdWords? The answer is you really can't. What you can do with AdWords is when we do AdWords, we do something called CallRail, which allows you to tie in the ad to a specific phone number so and it records the calls and you can tell. For organic SEO, here's what I would do actually. You can't do it per se, but you can certainly use Google Analytics. There is a webinar we did on Google Analytics and how to look at it. And I'm not looking to have you guys pass the analytics exam. You don't need to do that. What I want to know is this. Let's say that for the last 6 months, you're getting 50 visitors to your website a month. And you know from your data at the office, you get 5 new patients a month from the website. Terrific. Now you go ahead and you pay your SEO people, whatever it happens to be, for SEO. And they say, look, you know what? We're going to do SEO. We just did the implementation. Let's give it a couple of months to see what's happening. And so now, 6 months after that, you look back and you say, wait a second. A year ago, for the first 6 months, I had 50 a month. At that 6-point mark, I started paying you guys. It's a year later, and I'm still getting 50 a month. So you guys did SEO for me. And in the 6 months that you told me to, we're going to start seeing some results, I still have the same amount of visitors to my website that I had before. So your SEO isn't working. It's not driving traffic. Whereas if you go back and you look and say, hey, you know what? Now we've got an average of 80 visitors a month for the last 3 months or 4 months. What was the difference? The difference is that you're getting more traffic from SEO. And then when you go and you see, in the data in the office, what are we doing? How many patients do we have? Well, we knew that we got 5 every month no matter what. Now we have 80 visitors, and now we're getting 6, or now we're getting 7. I wish it were that easy, but at the simplest level, that's really what it is. I want you to know what it is, what your baseline is of traffic that you're getting, and patients to your website. You've got to know that as your baseline. That's number 1. Number 2 is going to be when you do a marketing plan, whether it's AdWords, even if it's a postcard plan, whatever it is that you're doing, you're going to do it. Know how many more visitors you're getting to your site than you were before, or know how many new patients. The problem is if you're running 17 different marketing campaigns, it's hard to tell just from website volume. But certainly if you're doing just SEO, you can see, did I get a boost from 50 to 80? And that's one of the things you want to look at. The other thing that's valuable about that is you can go back and say to your SEO people, and my clients too, all of my clients have Google Analytics. They can say, David, look, we're going to do this, and look, we're only getting 6, whatever it is, 5 new patients a month or 50 visits to our site a month. What's going on? So I don't know, let's have to look. And I can't say to you, yeah, because you've got the data in front of you. And analytics empowers you to look at that data and look at the analytics webinar. It will show you just how to look and see how many people are there coming per month. And I don't care, you don't have to know how many people are coming from this zip code on a Tuesday when the moon is full and the bells are ringing. We're not there yet. We don't have to be. Where we want to be is, am I getting, now that I'm paying money for someone to drive traffic to my website, am I actually getting what I paid for? That's really what I want to see. And I hope that answered your question. Okay, now, what is the average cost to optimize a dental website? All right, that is a very interesting question. And the problem with that is, are you talking, you know what, let me do this. Let me try and open up the microphone. With the person, this is the person who asked, okay, so the presentation is now done. We're going to incorporate that. I thank you for your time, but don't sign off yet. This is what's coming in July and August. NAP, this is very important. It's this. We're going to talk about the Google Maps listing and how you appear in Google Maps rankings, and part of that has to do with confirming your NAP. Then in August, we're going to talk about SSL, and do we need to have SSL or secure socket layers? And there's my contact information. So we're going to try and do some more questions now. If you want to go, the webinar is over, but I will record the questions. For the person who asked me about the average cost, do you mind if I open up your microphone so we can talk about that? Or would you prefer I write it on text? You can certainly type the answer in there. So I'm happy to open up your mic. I just don't want to embarrass you if you don't want to talk about it. Okay, that person didn't reply to me. So what I'm going to say is, they asked me what the average cost is. Although, you know what? Let me see here to open up a microphone. Let's just see. All right, I am able. Okay, so if anyone, okay, so the person doesn't want to open up online, and that's fine. So here's what I'll answer that question about the average cost. If the question is going to be, what does it cost to optimize a website? If you're talking about just doing SEO, then for us, what our current fees are, we charge, it's a one-time fee. We charge between $3,000 and $4,000 as a one-time fee to do it. And the range of our pricing is, it depends on the number of keywords that we have and how much content, if any, that we have to write or you have to write. If we do, because look, you're going to do research sometimes, and you're going to find, so for example, I live in Maplewood, New Jersey. And in Maplewood, New Jersey, it's a small town. And there's towns around it, Maplewood, Millburn, Short Hills, Chatham, and you're not going to have a ton of search volume for a lot of these topics. You might have for dentist, but you're not going to have a ton of search volume for, Invisalign dentist, Maplewood, New Jersey. You might have 3 searches a month, or, you're not really going to be able to tell there's a ton of volume there. But I certainly don't want to do Invisalign North Jersey, too big. So if you don't have a ton of keywords, I can't optimize you for specific keywords for your local area if you don't have search volume. If you could say to me, David, I want to do more extractions, and I look and I say, look, there's only 2 keywords, there's no search terms. People aren't searching for extractions. I can't force them to do it. So, and on the other end, if we have more keywords, then we go ahead, and that's when the fee is more. Obviously, it's a baseline fee because I still have to do research. It is, so depending on how much we have to do, that's how the fee ranges. I don't want to fix price that. That's not fair. I don't want to charge you more money for less work. But if there is more work, certainly, that, obviously that's why we charge more for a post in core. It is what it is. It's more work. So I hope that answers that question. There was another question. Okay, there was a question about, is the cost that I just mentioned for SEO and for websites, no, it's a separate issue. A website is a totally separate cost and a separate project. And with most companies, it's going to be. It's a totally separate thing. When we build websites, our websites are built to Google standards, though. So if you are looking to have someone build you a website, make sure that they're built to standards like we talked about here. If you want to do SEO on top of that, it's a separate service. And again, you might not need it. Depending on where you are and depending on your office, I don't want you when you're just buying an office, I don't want you also buying 4 Ceric machines and plumbing 12 rooms. Get one, have 2 or 3 rooms, and then if you need more, go from there. Somebody asked now, how much time do we need, weeks or months? Well, usually for SEO, it takes about a month because we have to do the keyword research. We have to get input from you. If you're working with a company that is doing SEO for you, you want to make sure that you are getting that you're involved in the keyword process. Because look, I could certainly take your zip code, 07078, my old zip code, or 07040, my current zip code, and look and see what people are searching for. But that's not the way to do it. The way to do it is to say, what we do is we have a worksheet that we give to our clients, and it says, tell us, what are the services that you do? We do Invisalign, we do root canals, and we do dentures. Okay. Are there any services that you do that people are going to know about, like Zoom? Now they're going to write, oh, Veloscope. You know what? Nobody knows what a Veloscope is and nobody cares until you show it to them in the office. So forget that. But Zoom, absolutely. So those are the kind of things that you want to know when you're doing keyword research. What are your local areas? One of the problems with SEO, and if you're still here, pay attention to this one, this is important, is that Google doesn't understand that you can get patients from multiple areas. So for example, I have a client in, let's say, Short Hills, New Jersey, and he can throw a baseball from Short Hills to Millburn. The border is 10 feet away. And the problem is, as far as Google's concerned, he has no business optimizing for Millburn because he's in Short Hills. So you're a dentist in Short Hills. What business do you have being a dentist in Millburn? And Google's going to say, what are you doing? You're in Short Hills. And the answer is, well, Google, of course. I have, I'm right here. There are a few towns that I certainly draw patients from all of these towns. And so that's really difficult because the people in Millburn are going to say, Google, well, don't let that guy from Short Hills, the town over, win for that keyword because I'm actually here. So if you want to optimize, so it's very difficult to optimize for locations. One of the things that we do for keyword research is, let's do Maplewood where I live. Let's say there's 3 searches a month for Invisalign Maplewood, New Jersey. Okay, I'm going to look and see Short Hills. And Short Hills has 4 for the same thing. And okay, let's look at Essex County. That's the county. Now, certainly there are very wealthy areas of Essex County and not as wealthy areas of Essex County. But at least I don't want to look at New Jersey, but at least if you don't have data at the small level, take a step back and look a little bigger picture, back out a little bit and look for data there. That's another way to do it. And again, when you do have someone do SEO for you, make sure that you were involved in the keyword process. Someone talked to me the other day and said, Yellow Pages promised them they'd rank them first. I said, look, if Yellow Pages can rank you first for everything, send them my way. I'll hire them. I'll outsource to them. But in all seriousness, I said to him, ask Yellow Pages how they picked your keywords. How are Dr. A's keywords different than Dr. B's keywords? And obviously, don't have them work on Dr. A's website if they're working on your website too, and you guys are 10 feet away. Next question. Someone asked me about the cost of a website. That we can discuss privately. Right now, our websites, depending on what you do, are in the 6,000 to 8,000 range. It depends on what you want to do with it and what you need. We do WordPress websites. Okay, great question. Can I do SEO with someone who has a pro sites website? And the answer is no. And the reason for that, and this is something to think about too, if you're going to build a new website, and I'm not saying any of you should, I used to say if you like your website, you can keep it. I can't say that anymore. But certainly, look, if you have a website that's working for you and it is functioning, you're getting new patients, you're doing well, then absolutely stick with the people you're with, work with them and keep it up. I don't see a need to change it. The problem with pro sites and offsite and a lot of other companies is that they are proprietary. They are proprietary code base. And so a lot of the things that you'd want to do, you can't necessarily do. Like I might look at your site and say, David, I want to do it. You want to do SEO. Okay, well, it looks like here your pages aren't loading quickly, and I want to adjust X, Y, and Z for you. With pro sites, I can't get under the hood and adjust that. Think about, you want to repair your car. All I can do is open your hood enough to get my hand in. I can't actually lift the hood the whole way to do work. So that's the problem with a site like pro sites, just because they're not on a platform that I could easily work with. And look, we could certainly do keyword research for that and point you in the right direction. I'd hate to do that. I mean, I think it's much better to, use WordPress and stay away from proprietary. So someone asked me, what page would I optimize to rank for Maplewood, New Jersey dentist if I'm in Maplewood? And what page? I'd say the homepage. What I would probably want to do is, it's a great question. I would say, the homepage and possibly on the about page as well, because I'm going to be, Maplewood, New Jersey dentist. On the homepage, you're a Maplewood, New Jersey dentist. Then our about page is going to say, welcome to Dr. Wank's office. We are so happy to have been here in Maplewood for, the last 15 years serving the Maplewood community. Dr. Wank is proud to be a dentist in Maplewood, blah, 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 blah. So I would think the homepage and the about page, you don't want to use the same keyword on two pages. So, you could just guesstimate, and I would say maybe do, Maplewood, New Jersey dentist on your homepage and family dentist Maplewood, cosmetic dentist Maplewood on your about page. Actually, no. I'd put cosmetic dentist Maplewood on your cosmetics page, obviously, but hope that answers your question. Next one. Should the homepage also be 100 to 200 words? Yes. I know it's harder to get words in there, and are the guidelines different for the homepage versus other pages? Not really. I think there's an expectation on the homepage that it's going to be a little bit different, that it's going to be a little more imagey and less texty. But certainly, if you can get 100, 150 words in there, I think that will be fine on the homepage. Do you lose all your SEO if you move from one provider to another? No. What you do is I'm going to put it in here. You do something called a 301 redirect. And that's another topic for another day. If I remember, I'll write that down. I'll put that on the Facebook group so I can tell you guys what that is. It's a way of telling Google, this page that ranked well, page A, is now over here so I don't lose my rankings. Okay. They ask for optimum results. For optimum results, what I would do is I would have a website that is built on WordPress where anybody can work with it on you. Obviously, we build websites and we do SEO, but certainly you want these open source generic platforms so anybody can work with you. Page speed. Good question. So what do you like to use to test page speed? With the location of the server in your server effect test? Yes, absolutely. Great question. I use pingdom.com. I don't know exactly. I forget the link offhand. It's Pingdom. I think you could do, that link won't work, but it's going to be, you look up, do a Google search for Pingdom, and I'm putting this in the chat box. Pingdom page speed test is a good one. And I also use webpagetest.org. I use those. And so what those do, and you could also use Google page speed insights. That's a little annoying, Google page speed insights, because you want to be number one, you want to get it to 100, and there are jokes all over the web that say it's impossible to get 100% ranking on that. You want to get 75, 80%, because there are certain things, like for example, with Google's page speed insights, they tell you, this is technical, you want your JavaScript loading in a certain way, but the JavaScript they're talking about is their own analytics code. So what can you do about that? And what the location of the test server in your server? Yes. When you're doing these tests, though, Pingdom lets you choose. Oh, there's also, as I like, is GT Metrics. I monitor all of our client sites with GT Metrics. Okay, I use gtmetrics.com, and that is what I use to do for testing for page speed. And yeah, and when you do the location, they usually have, I think they have Dallas, Los Angeles, or Virginia or something. So use the one that's closest to you. And again, that should really do just fine for you. Okay, so that looks like it. Thank you everyone, so much for this webinar and for all of the questions. I will post the other questions this week in the Facebook group. I think that would be great. I hope if you haven't all joined, please go to, it's in there before, shorthillsdesign.com. And I will post the follow-ups in there so we can talk about them. Again, thank you again, and have a great night, everyone.